I think Brendan's right when he talks about like if you don't make the money, you can't sustain the message. I think was
Environment will determine whether or not you will grow. Now, coaches understand this from an influence point of view. They're like, well, whoever you're around, now you're the average of 5 people. Who are you around the most?
Hey, it's Daniel, and you are about to watch a clip from our free podcast, The Coach's Journey, where we help you navigate the surprisingly difficult path of building a coaching business by people who are actually doing it. And we go live, raw, and unedited every week in our free Facebook community.
Coaches Nation, welcome to another awesome edition of the Coach's Journey podcast. We're here for you, you awesome coaches out there, building your businesses, actively working to build clientele, make a difference. That's who we're here for. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, and you know any other coaches who are going to get value from today, because I'm sure that you will, what we're talking about is why coaches don't move forward in the coaching business. And this is going to be really good for you to share with coach friends as well. See you on the other side. But in the meantime, let's talk about why coaches don't move forward in business. Faisal, want to get us started?
Yeah, I remember. I heard about this. I think it was from Brendan Burchard the first time a version of this. And one of his first trainings for coaches is that. Let me see if I can remember the exact quote or a version of it. Is that if you don't make the money, you can't promote the message. Some version of that. And I thought about that for a while. And in the beginning, I remember the first few years I had a lot of resistance to making the money, which I find so odd because I needed to do that to provide for my family, but I had all kinds of weird thoughts about making money. But the longer I've been, and it's funny, a few years ago, I was part of a group where I heard that some people didn't like me in that group because I talked about money a lot. Like, that's interesting. I would have been that person, so I get it.
Yeah, a lot of coaches start on the journey where they're like they're not even aware. Like I was, well, for me, I had the same challenge. I wasn't aware that I had like money blocks around not just asking for money, but making offers and like receiving money itself.
Yeah.
Receiving money for something that for me felt like something really life giving to me. Like with the
Yeah.
idea of connecting deeply with people and helping them, transform their lives. And so
Yeah.
I think Brendan's right when he talks about like if you don't make the money, you can't sustain the message. I think was what you're
Yeah,
talking about, right?
that was a quote. Yeah.
Because you can't. And even if you hear that, it still takes a while to really realize that in your heart, right?
Yeah.
Like you can hear them like, yeah, I know, but I don't need to ask for money, and I don't want to, and it's hard, and it feels weird, and money, even though you want to like it's such a contradiction. It was for me. Like I know I wanted to make money. I know I want to build a coaching business and make money doing that, but I didn't know how to do it or why I needed to do it for myself personally, like in the offers.
Yeah.
It's like such a contradiction.
Yeah, not only that, it's for me, it was a journey because I kept hearing it in different ways. And the second time I remember, I heard it from one of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts, who said it in some old lecture. He's like, I think it's smart that people build their profession around something that they love. And he did that, but he never like he was a weird character. He moved to California. He would give lectures on a boat for pretty much all his life. Now his son took those lectures, turned them into books now. But he didn't care. He just wanted to talk to him. And he became very famous on radio in U.S. He's a British guy, and he was one of the few philosophers that brought Eastern and Western mysticism together. But and I heard it from him like, huh. And I knew that because that's what I was trying to do. Like it is smart to do the thing to make money with the thing that you love. Like, what else would I want to do? And I thought about it. I'm like, if I don't make money doing the thing that I love, then I would have to be pulled into doing something that I hate. And that's what I was running away from because I did that for years.
Or something you don't love that much,
Or
or
something
something
you
you
don't
don't
love.
love as much. And so if you think about like, there's a spectrum of how much you love something. Like, how far along that spectrum are you willing to operate? And the nice thing about coaching is if you do love coaching, and you do love that conversational transformational process, and you could make money at it and it be the profession that makes you money at the same time as you're enjoying it and loving it, would you want to do that? Right? And if you're listening
Yeah.
to this podcast now, it's probably you, right? I would say everybody listening here today would, and watching the recording, is probably that person who loves coaching and would benefit tremendously personally from building a profession around it, but so would their potential clients would benefit tremendously and personally. And that's the value exchange in every profession, which is if you love teeth and dentistry, your patients are getting dental health, right? And it's like this exchange. They pay you for that work. It's a profession. It's not just you like go to people you meet randomly and then like let me look at your teeth because I love teeth so much. And maybe you do that, but you're not getting paid for that, and that's not a professional container you've created for it, right? That is going to be a sustainable growth process that will not require any other, income. If you're independently wealthy, you could do that. You could just do dentistry for free. But people, expect a profession to be paid. They expect you to provide that skill set and pay for it.
Yeah, and how this connects to coaches as well, and we're kind of painting it through the picture of money, but that is if you look at businesses, the money is the lifeblood of your business. Again, it's just like your blood is without blood, your body's not going to operate. And so how does it work in the marketplace? And this was and it's interesting that money blocks were not as apparent as I thought. So for example, I used to have these ideas, these thoughts around related to business owners and corporations that were incredibly negative. Of course, there are negative and positive business owners in the world. There are good businesses, there are really bad business models. And I had these thoughts around capitalism that were incredibly negative, and I had built these beliefs over time.
Do you mean like people who own businesses or run businesses are
Yeah,
bad?
like,
Like,
yeah,
what
so
do
I
you
had a
mean?
lot of negative associations with business owners. I had negative associations with corporations, bigger corporations. I had negative associations to just the whole capitalistic system and what it did because that was the material I was exposed to. And it reminds me, it was funny, one of my relatives, he sent me this documentary about vegetarians. And the documentary, I think, talked about all the things about how meat is the worst thing. And I watched it, and he was very convinced. I'm like, okay, before you make up your mind, I'll send you this other documentary. Watch that too. And of course, in the vegetarian documentary, they've taken out all the positive aspects of eating meat, and the other one they've taken out all the positive aspects of eating vegetables. In fact, they were painting it in the negative. Right? Like, you're supposed to look at all aspects of this, and again, we live in a world where that's getting worse and worse nowadays because it's getting more polarized. And in fact, the algorithms work that way too. Is if you believe something, you'll only be exposed to that
It's like a
belief.
reinforcement echo chamber, right? And
Yeah,
that's like, not only is that like a limiting belief that you start with, but then your echo chamber continues to reinforce that belief and creates further limits on you. So the question that comes up in my mind based on what you're saying, Faisal, is the thing that you believe about money, whether it's obvious to you or not, is that limiting you? Is it like actually how's that working for you? It's like
yeah,
if you don't think that money has any place in coaching, then I'll ask you like how's that working for you as a coach?
yeah,
And eventually, as long as you're not independently wealthy, and some people are, and that's fine, but eventually this is going to catch up with you because you will not be able to spend the time coaching because you have to spend that time earning money somewhere else. And maybe you can find a good balance, maybe you can't. But there is a path towards earning an income coaching.
yeah. And also then this is where coaches come in, and the kind of thoughts that you hear becomes very obvious, and they will say, well, I don't have enough money to put into this. I can't spend money on this. I can't spend money on the other thing. And usually whether it doesn't matter what it is. If something is going to help you move your business forward, it's not spending, it's investing. Reframe that in your mind as a starting point. And they will even say, like, well, I've invested money in a lot of things. Well, think about how you've made the decision to spend. One of the things that happens when you're jumping into entrepreneurship, you learn what kind of investments are better and what kind are worse. Not all investments are created equal. Just it's the same as when you go to stocks. It's the same as when you go to a real estate. It's a learning curve that you go through. There are lots of things I used to invest in that I don't anymore. I'm very particular about what kind of programs I invest in, and usually it's when I need it, not randomly. And this is why we even frame our program that way, is that if you're actually really are committed to building your business, this is the program for you, and here's why. But a lot of the coaches will come to us and they'll have all kinds of thoughts. I can't do this. I can't move forward. Even if it's a low investment, they will struggle because one, they've kind of exhausted their ability to invest in other programs and they're learning through that process. But we'll even give them an opportunity to, hey, go save up and come back. We'll give you this value. They still wouldn't do that because again, speaking to the coaches who, whether you're in the beginning or middle stages, you will need to consistently invest in your business for it to move forward. And this connects to the echo chamber we were talking about. Who are the coaches that you're spending or who are the people who you're spending the most amount of time with? Are they coaches who are building businesses? Are they coaches who are talking about certifications? Are they coaches who are talking about the next course? Are they coaches who are talking about where they're getting leads from and how they're serving people actually in their business? Are you around business owners who are thinking about growing and scaling, or are you just around business owners who just call themselves business owners but they're struggling constantly? That environment will determine whether or not you will grow. Now, coaches understand this from an influence point of view. They're like, well, whoever you're around, now you're the average of 5 people. Who are you around the most?
Yeah, I love that, Faisal, and that's one of the things I love about CMC is everybody's in the game. We were talking about
Yeah.
today. One of our pro members in our session today was asked the question about like sometimes I have these doubts, and everybody in the group acknowledged that we all have the doubts.
Yeah.
Every coach is going to have doubts. Those times when those doubts are common, and those times where those doubts are like, can I really do this? And one of the benefits of being in CMC is that you're around other people who have the same doubts as well as other people who are in the game. Because they've invested in being there, and they're every week showing up. And one of the things that we shared with the group is when you have those doubts, part of the protection that coaches who are committed will have is that they're in the game and they see the evidence that they're in the game. They see the evidence that they're coaching. And so one of the reasons why coaches don't move forward in business, yes, it's the money blocks. Yes, that's one part of it. Another reason is that they're not actually in the game. And
Yeah.
I've had times in my life where that's up and down. And so it's okay to like understand that there are seasons in life too, and seasons where there's other things in life. But are you continuing to come back and stay in the game? Is the question that I would ask every coach out there. Like, how in the game are you? And the way you know that you're in the game is that you're inviting people to do calls with you. And as you
Yeah.
invite people to do calls with you, as you get them to experience your coaching, whether they sign up or not, that tells us you're in the game. Are you making an offer? Are you making an invitation for them to come coach with you, to buy, to make an offer for them to buy a program? Or are you inviting them to refer others because they've experienced it and know what they're inviting people to? Are you doing those things? And if you're in the game, you'll see the evidence that the coaching you're doing is actually making a difference. And if you don't really see it making a difference, then you're going to learn about how to improve that coaching because you don't really improve until you iterate. And so get in the game, and those evidences that you're in the game will help you continue to stay in the game. And part of that also is
Yeah.
the supportive community. So, be around those people, as Faisal said, who can also be in the game with you.
Yeah, and especially right now in the world of business, it was a few years ago I went to this conference, an incredibly successful business owner who said, if you really want to grow in business, just survive the next 4 to 6 years. That's generally great advice to survive for the next, but it became even more when it's like just you don't have to focus on growth or anything. Just survive. Make sure you survive. Make sure you keep your network in place. Make sure you're around the right business owners. Make sure you have a pulse on the marketplace. And this is the inherent challenges that most coaches I know, they're behind their computers. They're sitting there in isolation trying to figure out what to do. And if
It's
they
not
are
just
around
coaches, too. It's their clients.
other businesses owners too. It's not just coaches. Any business that's not, especially in the world, because they're at the speed that things are moving, no one person can keep up with it. Like no
Yeah.
one person can.
I'm focused on AI a lot, and I feel completely overwhelmed most of the time about what's going on and all the technologies and all the apps and all the things that are expanding exponentially. And there's just like total chaos,
Yeah,
right? In the world of what's going on. And so that's okay, but that's another reason why people need coaches. There's so much chaos out there. There's so much
yeah,
exponential growth in like what's available. If you thought the information age was rough, like when it was the information age, now it's the attention age. Well, then it was the attention age, And now it's the AI age. Like people's attention was already destructed by all the stuff out there. It's getting worse, not better. It's not. There's no end in sight. People are going to need support. They're going to need help, and they're going to need human help too. Because even just
Yeah.
using AI, like I find myself going down rabbit holes, and AI is not going to stop you from going down those rabbit holes if you're in charge. I
Yeah.
asked AI to do something like, "Would you like me to do this or this or this?" I'm like,
Oh my
"No,
God.
do not do any of those things."
And all the models from what I've noticed, the ones that I use, they're trained to keep you engaged on the platform a lot like social media. So it will
So
ask the
ironic.
next follow up, and they're all interesting, and it's getting better and better. And also, I've found that the more they know you, the better questions they're asking you. That's
They're
part
getting
of the
better.
positive.
Think about that. Like actually, it just occurred to me what you said. They are getting to know you pretty well, and they know like your
Yeah.
triggers and stuff, and so they can deeply like understand the things that are going to keep you engaged, right? So
Yeah.
there's a whole another like defense against the dark arts you have to do in working with your AI. Number one, to not lose
Defense
your
against
ability to
the Harry Potter reference.
yeah. Not lose your. I call it the defense against the dark arts with social media, with AI. You have to learn to not lose your ability to direct the action, to be the human in charge. You have to learn not to let AI take away your creative thought process and your own thinking. And sometimes what I like to do is just force myself to not actually press enter on that prompt. First, I'm gonna like make a couple notes myself what I think the answer might be, especially if I'm doing something creative for my own brand or for myself, and then let the AI answer, and then just tell AI, here's what I thought, and then combine that with what you're saying. So that way I get both sides of it, and I'm actually practicing my thinking. And I actually find that working with AI collaboratively can sharpen your thinking as if you're being present and intentional with being critical about AI. Because most of the outputs that it's giving me, I actually I feel like I know enough to not accept them right away. And to
Yeah.
shape it. I'm shaping that output. So my point, getting back to the point, coaches aren't moving forward because they're getting lost in these rabbit holes. So distraction is a big category of coaches not moving forward. And we all have different levels of that. I myself have been distracted as well. And so this is why we need coaches because everybody is
Yeah.
distracted, right? And so are
Yeah.
you bringing your clients into that space, that sacred coaching space, that professional container where they can be not distracted and be present? Because that is actually something that we're losing. I think in the age of AI, you're going to find the things that are valuable are presence, live engagement, human connection, and also your network and your brand, because those are things that AI cannot replicate. They can help you maybe enhance, but they're not going to be able to replace those human things.
Yeah, and it goes back to, so the reason why we brought AI into the picture, a very powerful tool, but it's actually not gonna help you build your business if it takes you down the rabbit holes. It and like AI, just like any other piece of knowledge. For example, AI can help you build frameworks, but if you, as a coach, you don't understand the function of those frameworks in a real life situation, it can backfire badly. You don't, if you don't, it can give you very advanced frameworks to go facilitate a session with, but if you don't know how it applies, or if you cannot separate real experience from theory, it's giving you a bunch of theory. You don't know how to do it. Same thing with the real life business experiences like that too. There are a lot, like you will constantly, with the world of AI, you're gonna get thousands of apps that are gonna keep coming towards you. In reality, there are only a handful of apps that you're gonna actually practically use in your business to move it forward, and they're useful. But how do you know unless it's been tested? If you're around the right network, what their business owners do is they constantly test. Real business owners, they test things because they don't know. They know if they don't test it, it's all theory. It might or might not. Everything looks great as a hypothesis, but you got to put it to test. And that's what we're doing consistently in our container and CMC, is that all these business owners have a pulse on the marketplace. Because one of the first things I get every coach to talk about is they talk about their wins. And usually if it's a businessman, I'll ask them like, well, what worked in that process? Today, the same thing happened. One of the business owners had been working on making this offer with 3 business partners. That's been it's come up multiple times throughout these sessions, but finally the offer went through. It was a $20K offer. But you can see, you have a pulse on the marketplace. You can see how it actually works in real life versus reading it in a book. And we ask them like, what's happening, what's working, what's not working. And if you're part of these conversations, you know what's going on in the marketplace, what's bringing value versus what's not. But if you're around a bunch of business owners or I'd say coaches who all they're talking about is, oh, what's the next mindset tool, or how are you approaching the framework here, or let's practice some coaching, they're not going to help you move your business forward. They might help you with understanding some of the pieces of the coaching, but I would say even that's theoretical.
Yeah, I think that's really right. And because what you're saying is another reason coaches don't move forward is because they're acting theoretically. They're acting from theories. I've done it myself. Like I've built entire courses before selling those courses, and by the time they were built, like I realized I built the wrong thing. Like that was not worth it. Because now it's like I didn't base it on what was real in the marketplace. I didn't sell people something to prove that this is the right area of focus.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you can pre-sell the things you want to build if you are thinking about it. But also you can get the data from actual people. You can get, like, if you're in the game as a coach and getting people into your discovery sessions, you're getting data from them every single time. And so you are already plugged into the marketplace of what your clients and your people are thinking about and what you can help them with. And so if you're doing that, then you know better what to build and what to offer. You can evolve and iterate with real people, as opposed to just having AI design everything for you. I mean, you could do that, but it's not going to necessarily be something you can deliver because it's theoretical. And so AI will
Yeah.
not be able to have the real lived experience, the real business experience to help you make those judgment calls and those, have wisdom. AI has lots of knowledge, and sometimes what sounds like wisdom is not actually wise.
Yeah, and it's very hard to separate it if you don't have the experience around those things, because it will sound smart. It's like somebody was talking
So
about, like, a lot of people who graduate from these amazing universities, they don't necessarily have wisdom, but what they have is the tools to communicate something in a way that sounds like they can convince you of almost anything. This is where, like, these
AI's like
very
that.
AI is like that, and even better than those people who've been trained for years, because it has more knowledge than any human being could ever have, more information than, and knows how to connect the dots. It will put something in front of you that will look amazing, but in reality, it will not work. And the only way you're going to know this is either through your experience or somebody around you.
This actually
So
happened to me the other day. I was working
container,
with AI. I was trying to solve a problem, and it led me down the wrong path for like an hour. This is ChatGPT 5.1, and it led me down the wrong path for like an hour, and then it ended up on a solution. I went to go implement it, and it actually made it worse. Spent another hour trying to figure out what happened, and then I'm like got really tired of ChatGPT. I'm like, I'm moving to Gemini, and Gemini 3 Pro had come out, and I went to Gemini and asked the same question. 5 minutes later, got a solution. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Let me go try that. I tried it. It freaking worked. And I
yeah,
went back to ChatGPT and I told it, like, "Oh my gosh, you suck." For the first time, I insulted my
you suck.
ChatGPT. I've not needed to do that generally. And then I realized something, like, even with my level of knowledge of the subject, and I was pretty knowledgeable in the subject matter, I still got led astray. And I was thinking about all the folks, like, in my parents' generation who really have no idea what AI is capable of right now, how they can get scanned or led astray so easily. And I thought, even I got led astray, and I was believing its explanations were complete. Even in 5.1, was making this up, thinking it knew confidently what it was saying. And then, a few days later, 5.2, couple weeks later, 5.2 came out, and it was much better. But I still don't trust it after that experience. I'm like, no matter how good the model is, even the hallucination rate for 5.2 went down from 8% to 6%, but, like, it's still going to lead you astray with information itself. So it knows a lot of stuff, but it can easily make things up. And that's just the nature of how LLMs are built. They're predictive engines. Yes, they're adding thinking patterns, but those thinking patterns aren't bulletproof. And they can, you have a wrong premise in your thinking pattern or wrong piece of information, all of a sudden you can go down the wrong direction.
Yeah,
And so I think it's going to be really valuable to keep humans' brains in the loop. Like, don't turn your brain off. That's what I always say. And that's true
yeah.
for your coaching business too. AI can only take you so far.
And it comes back to, like, our conclusion that if you're around the right community, if you're around the right people, you have these corrective mechanisms within that container that will help you to not go the wrong direction. Sometimes that's your coach, sometimes that's your mentor, sometimes that your colleagues, sometimes other people's experiences that you see they're testing things out. And this is how human beings operate anyway. Like when you look at human, it's not just a business thing, it's a human thing. How do we learn about nutrition? How do we learn about the world around us? It's a bunch of people got together, they were part of a tribe, they tested different things over generations, and then we have the data from there. And then later on, science came into the picture, started testing things more methodically. But the ultimate thing is the same. Like, this is why business is very practical in the sense is that you got to test it and you got to find a bunch of people who have tested this stuff. If you don't have that, you're just operating in completely blindly. And most coaches, one of the main reasons why they're not moving forward, they're not around the right network, they're not moving forward because they keep getting into these courses, programs, or behind their computer. At least if you're in a course, you're with a bunch of people, there's a community aspect to it, you're talking to them, hopefully not with the wrong people. But if you're worse, you're sitting behind your computer trying to figure out everything, and now you're using AI that's going to convince you that this is a great idea, you're doing awesome. And I like the positive language that
it's
it uses.
super positive. It's like, excellent idea. I'm like, thank you. Stop it.
Thank you. Nobody else told me that. It's not challenging you at all. Like, I really wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
But it's stoking your ego, but it's not actually moving you forward. In fact, it's just getting you to waste time more and more. Again,
It's getting
powerful
you to
tool.
stay engaged on the platform.
Yeah, well, that's for its benefit. So again, just
Yeah,
like anything
exactly.
else, your phone a powerful tool, but not useful if it takes you the wrong direction. Your computer, same thing. Your mind, incredibly powerful tool, but it could take you in all sorts of directions. What are the self-check check mechanisms around you? With human beings, that's why we're social. We need to be around other people to check our thoughts, beliefs, our perceptions, what we think. And if you're around the wrong crowd, it goes in a negative direction. So ask yourself, have you been around other coaches who've been successful? And are you consistently around them week in, week out when they're sharing updates around what they're testing, what's working, what's not working? Or is it just a bunch of coaches who have no business and then one or two coaches who are doing amazing in a community and you're like, well, I got to do something like this? I'm talking about people who are actually sharing and they're testing and they're sharing their progress, not some guru marketer or business owner who is doing very well and nobody else is doing anything else in that group. They're just in the theory mode. That's the one thing that we love about CMC is that everybody is. The reason we're there, and that's by intention, because we want people who are committed to their business, not just who are interested in coaching. Yes, that's an important part of what we're doing, but without you committed to building a business, coaching is just a hobby in the background. And that's a great thing if you want to build a hobby, but we're talking about building something that has value in the marketplace. And that's what will help you move forward. So are you around those people? Are you actually testing things out? Have you actually served people in the past? Do you have any money blocks, as we shared in the beginning, that stops you from investing in yourself and your business?
Or are you distracted to the point of not being able to focus on the parts of your business?
Yeah. And you've gone so distracted that all you can think about is, okay, what do I do next? What do I focus on? And you can't focus on anything save your life. And then you're going to pick something comfortable to stay with. Let me build my brand in the background, or my website, or my social media presence. Might or might not be useful. But ultimately, as a business owner, you need to be around other business owners, especially nowadays, for you to sustain this business and actually serve at the highest level. And this coming year is going to be really test for a lot of people on that. If you're not around business owners who are making money, who are serving people, who are moving their business forward, you're probably going backwards. So consider that. And if you're still in our community, and if you've gotten our offer on December 15th is the deadline, 2025, for you to join our program, please consider it. If you're committed to your business. If you're not, we fully understand, because we only want people who are committed to their business to move forward. You will get all the support that you need on the AI front, on the business front. You're going to be around coaches who are actually building their businesses. It's a very different energy when you're around those kind of coaches. And if you're listening to this on our podcast, please join our community. It's free. You'll get a lot of value, and at some point we'll support you. We always lead with value, and if you're open to joining our community, if you're open to building your business, we'll be there to support you. But you can join our community for free at cmc.coach.
That's right, cmc.coach. And please share this podcast with other coach friends that you know who are also actively building their business, who want to be around coaches who are in the game. And with that, thanks, Faisal, for another episode of the Coach's Journey podcast. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.